Hey, good morning, everybody. Sean here from Voice from the Dirt Road. To be honest with you, it's not morning, it's afternoon. It's Thursday afternoon. And the reason why this is episode 40, the reason why we taping it early is because everybody knows here in Georgia and pretty much all across the United States, we're going through a heat wave right now. And tomorrow was the day that I have scheduled to do pregnancy checks on our cows. The vet was originally scheduled to be here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. But I just said, no, I don't want to put my cows through that kind of stress. So we agreed that we would do it at 7 tomorrow morning. So exact time that you're actually watching this show, I'll be outside with the vet getting all the cows pregnancy checked. We'll take some pictures, maybe do a little video, and we'll talk about it on the next episode the following week. But again, thank you for following our show. We have a great show for you today. Going to talk about some outstanding things that are occurring in agriculture. With that being said, let me just reorder it all because we're getting new people all the time and tell you about our show. Our show is 100% focused on agriculture, focused on our farmers, focused on the rural community. And the way that we do that, we break this stool down into 3 or 4 different legs. And one leg is livestock. I'm personally the livestock side of farming. I raise cattle for a living. Cow-calf operations where we get our cows pregnant. They have a calf. We make sure that calf is vaccinated and everything that needs to happen. And then that calf is sold on down further down the road. And then ultimately it becomes steak in your store and you can buy it. Or you can actually go to a farmer and do farm to table type operations when in the future we'll do a show on that. Then we have the row crop side of the house. On the row crop side of the house, that's the guys who are planting peanuts, soybeans, cotton, the whole 9 yards. And most of their sales are being sold overseas in the international market to China and all those kind of things. But right now, they're struggling based on the tariffs and different things that we have. So it's pressure on those farmers also. And then we have the forestry community. The forestry community, anything that dealing with our trees, anything that deals with our smaller niche type farmers, all of that falls up under forestry. And as y'all guys know, we done had some paper mills to close and those type things here in Georgia. We did past episodes on that. So the forestry community is trying to reinvent themselves. Some members are being moved out west. So all of those things tie back into the one piece that touches us all, and that's the USDA. And the USDA is that agency through the NRCS, through the FSA, that actually help our farmers and help us as we go into tough times to get us some additional funding to make sure that if we have a natural disaster, somebody can step in and keep the farm afloat. But it's actually done all by the USDA. Our leader for the USDA right now is Secretary Rollins, and she has a lot on her plate. And then ultimately, Congress right now, as we speak, the Senate is still working on the farm bill. The farm bill that we're currently still working off is a version of 2018, is well out of date. And right now, the Senate, they'll be going back in a few more days. Hopefully they can get the farm bill passed. It's just one glitch in there, and that one glitch is focused on the SNAP payments. The Republicans want to have 1 year for the states to get things in place. The Democrats are asking for 2 years to get things in place. At the end of the day, I think we're going to get cooler heads and actually get to the 2 years to ensure that the least of us can actually get the SNAP program. Because I think most of us understand when we call it the farm bill, majority of the money that's in the farm bill actually go to the SNAP program. And we'll do follow-up shows on these things in the future. But I just wanted you to understand that this is what this show is all about. Is my way of stopping and trying to give voice to the rural community. We address those issues that affect us across the board, from the time of buying property to owning the property, or after you own it for years, trying to pass it on to your kids, or on top of that, data centers and everything else trying to come in here, corporate America trying to buy up all the farmland. We touch all of that. But today, before I jump into what we're actually going to talk about, let me just stop and give you all guys a quick little update on the farm and what's going on with Snowflake. Many of y'all guys know Snowflake is one of our cows here on the farm. You don't even supposed to name her, but my wife did. So her name is Snowflake. She's a Charolais. She's 100% registered. Great cow. This will be her second calf. So right now, Snowflake is on what we call baby watch. So I go out twice a day just to make sure she's okay. She's doing great, and she's very gentle. She's not a pet, but she's doing very gentle. And I think here in the next 5 to 10 days, we will be having another calf, and we'll go from there. Can we play the video of me going out and checking on Snowflake this morning?
Well, Snowflake's definitely on baby watch. Came out early this morning to check her. Yeah. She likes for her back to be rubbed now. Look at her. She like her back rubbed. Yep. Maybe another 5 to 10 days, and she'll be ready. She's starting to bag up, and I noticed her this morning. She was standing off by herself, so those are all signs of getting ready to have a calf. She's looking good. Have a good day.
So as y'all guys can see, Snowflake is very gentle. When she sees me coming out to the pasture, she just comes straight to me. But like I mentioned in there, is a couple of telltale signs you can tell when a cow's starting to get close to having a baby. One, their bag starts to fill up with milk. And then two, the tail starts to arch up a little bit. But then on top of that, a real telltale sign, they kind of start separating themselves from the herd and finding a quiet place where they're going to be able to have the calf. She's not 100% sure, right? 100% there yet, but she's getting real close. And that's why we go out twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. No matter what we're doing, we make sure that we go out there and check on her. Not thinking she's going to have any issues. She's a great mother, but it's my responsibility to take care of these cows. So with that, that's the update on what's currently going on here on the farm. But what I want to talk about today is some serious things that are going on in the world of agriculture. And this one falls up under that line of livestock. Just this week, or really yesterday, we actually had Tyson that has shut down another processing plant out west. It's going to have great effect on the cow-calf operation, or it's going to have great effect on the whole cattle operation. But specifically for Iowa and some other states that are actually out west, we may feel that ripple effect here in Georgia. And on top of all of that pressure with the herd being so small, and we have talked about it, the herd is as small as it's ever been in the last 50 years, and we're trying to grow it. But with the pressure of everything that's actually happening right now is making it very hard for farmers to try to grow the herd and at the same time, still try to make a living at this business that we're in. But before I get too deep into it, this video here, it may be a little bit longer, but it will give you a very good understanding of everything that's going on. It's the agriculture commissioner from Texas, Sid Miller. I like Sid Miller because he called balls and strikes. And when I say he calls balls and strikes, he says exactly what this current administration is doing, good and bad, but he also called balls and strikes on what the Biden administration has done in the past and how that affected us as cattlemen or anybody that's in the livestock business. And the reason why I bring that up is because we had some major droughts going on when President Biden was our president, and he decided, based on whatever his decision was, that they were not going to open up some of our national lands for the cows can graze them. And that caused many farmers to have to sell off some of their cows, or a significant amount of their cows. But before I get too far in the weeds, let's play the video, and then on the backside we'll digest it, because not only do we have the pressures of Tyson shutting down, but we also have the pressures of data centers coming and corporate America trying to buy up all of our farmland.
Are American farmers and ranchers facing new threats from AI? First, Tyson Foods is closing 2 of its plants, reportedly putting over 3,000 American workers out of a job. This as ranchers are dealing with a historic cattle shortage. The USDA says current cattle inventory is at its lowest since 1951, just over 86 million head. And now ranchers face another potential threat. That's AI data centers. One analysis says future data centers will largely exist in rural areas. But as tech giants snatch up farmland, not everyone is buying in. The Bear family in Kentucky, they've turned down $26 million payday from an AI company, refusing to sell their farm that they've owned for over 200 years to make way for a data center. Their response to the offer? Kick rocks and don't come back. Joining me here in Dallas, laughing through that response, is Texas Agricultural Commissioner Sid Miller. Sid, it's good to see you.
Good to be with you.
You like that response?
I like that. Those are my kind of people right there.
Okay, we've got 2 different issues here that we're dealing with when it comes to farmers and ranchers. They may dovetail, but let's just start with this. Tyson closing packaging plants across the country. They're still going to maintain some, like, for example, facility in Amarillo, Texas. They're doing this because they say the cattle supply is at a record shortage. They just simply don't have enough beef coming in to package to send out.
Yeah. So what do? We close the border to cattle coming in from Mexico that we've been letting in for 100 years. There's 2 million head of cattle in Mexico that would normally be up here grazing our wheat pastures, grazing our hay meadows, going into our feedlots. But we've closed that border, and the USDA has actually made the shortage worse. 2 million head would have kept those 2 Tyson plants open.
Why do we have a cattle shortage?
Drought. The Biden administration closed all grazing on federal lands. During a drought, we didn't have any place to go with those cattle. Closing the border. Normally we get 15% of our cattle in from Mexico. That's been cut off. So it's a number of issues.
Okay.
And it compounds.
In the cattle business right now, you and I were discussing this. The price of beef combined with a smaller supply has been good for some ranchers out there in the supply chain. Really just the cow-calf operators.
Cow-calf guy is doing well.
Okay, but then as you go down the supply chain, the feedlots.
The stocker guys that was the next in the chain.
Yep.
That's the guy that buys the calves from the rancher, from the cow-calf guy, runs them on grass or winter pasture, and then he'll sell them to somebody, and they put them in the feedlot. But the stocker guy is losing money. The feedlot operator is losing money, and now the packers are obviously closing up shop.
Because we need more cows.
Yeah, because we don't have enough.
Okay, as you can see there, it's a lot of pressure that's actually occurring. And like I mentioned, you know, the herd is very small. Many of y'all guys know that the part of the cattle operation I'm personally in is the cow-calf operation. With this particular event happening yesterday, as I'm speaking to you, that in itself has made the price of beef fall, which means that when Sid's talking about the cow-calf guys making some money, just by this one action of this plant shutting down has now made the price of beef drop this particular week. It may go back up, but at the end of the day, it's now already having great effect on cattle operations throughout the entire United States. And at the end of the day, if we would have sold cows last week or the week before, you would have brought in more money to your farm. So all these things that we're talking about have great effect on the farmer and everything that they're trying to do. With that being said, Sid is right, and I said it earlier. We have several different things that are currently going on. Right now, we said we're going to open the borders back up. We still hadn't got there. I think the date that the border is supposed to open back up is on August 24th, if I remember correctly. That's all also because of the screwworm situation that we're dealing with. However, because we don't actually have enough cattle coming in from Mexico, plants are being closed. Now, let me be clear on it. I believe that Tyson is closing plants not because we got a cattle shortage. It's 100% because they want to make sure they take care of their bottom line. They can care less about the people that are losing their jobs at that particular plant. It's 100% looking at a spreadsheet and saying, in order for us to do what we want to do and keep our profits where we want it to be, we potentially going to shut down 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 plants, and we'll see how that's going to play out. So that's like 2 or 3 different pressures that are going on. And when Tyson shuts down, this is happening in the rural community. That can have great effect on the entire town. So this is not just a agriculture cattle situation. This could actually turn into a situation where small rural America can disappear simply by packers making decisions on their bottom line, which is affecting everybody else. What I plan to do in the future is have another episode where we actually get in the weeds and talk about the 4 packers that we have and why they dominate everything, and then how, because they dominate everything, how does that affect the farmer on the ground? Right now, this week, what I will be watching as a fellow farmer or fellow cattleman out there is what's going to be affecting when people sell cows, where they're going to go to be slaughtered. And I will also be looking to see what Secretary Rollins is going to say about this. As of right now, she has not said too much about the processors shutting down from Tyson. The question comes into it is, if they continue to shut down processors, then where will the cattlemen take their cows, and how can we survive in this particular business? And the last thing we need is for the agricultural community to collapse in on itself, because if the agricultural community collapses in on itself, the great state of Georgia, the United States, our entire economy will collapse in. But it will show up first right in our face in rural America, because if the farmers are not generating money, everything else will shut down. With that being said, I'm not going to have a long show this morning, but I want to make sure that clearly I say it every week. It is pressure on our farmers. Our farmers are doing an amazing job. They're working their way through all the different pressures, and farming is not just something that you're on your farm and you immune to everything else that's happening here in the United States, but also around the world, because everybody's still tracking right now in the Strait of Hormuz. We don't have an agreement. The 60 days have went by. We're not talking anymore. We still got tariffs that are still going out. We got forest fires or fires that are going on out west. It's a lot of pressure that's on the everyday farmer on the ground. So with that being said, I always like to end the show the same way. It's ending it in a way that I say to our farmers, you're going to be fine. You're resilient. On top of being resilient, if you having a stressful day, please, yourself or somebody in your family picks up the phone and call 988. It will be a live person on there, and they will help you get through a stressful situation and get to the next day. Something I've said for many years is this: do not let a bad day, one bad day, affect the rest of your life. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're taking care of our farmers, from making sure that they actually can have a farm, making sure that they can make a living on the farm, making sure that they can actually pass that farm on down to their families and not to corporate America. I want to make sure I'm very clear on that piece. I want to make sure our farms go from family member to family member. I want to make sure that our farms are not sold to corporate America. And most definitely, I want to make sure farms are not going to data centers. Because at the end of the day, when these farms are sold and they go into a corporate America, or they go into data centers, the next thing you know, you're never going to get it back. And we're going to be in a situation where we can't feed ourselves, we can't feed our neighbors, and we can't feed the world. And the United States never wants to be in that situation. And that is strategic when it comes to agriculture. So with that, guys, again, thank you for keeping up with our show. It looks like I've been talking now for roughly about 20 minutes. So this is a little bit of a short one. But the reality of it is, currently when I'm talking to you, I'm hoping right now that all of my cows are pregnant. But even if they're not pregnant, because what we just talked about on the show, I cannot afford to send them to the stockyard and sell, because I will lose money. So I got to keep them behind, and we'll just try to get them pregnant again. So with that, guys, have a great day. The cup is empty. See you next week.